Now, today we'll talk about another hidden indie gem, or aka another indie independent project you never heard of. Today's subject matter will be Metrecalia, if I said the name correctly. Now, this indie project, I wasn't really looking for it, I just sort of accidentally bumped into it, completely in Spanish. Yeah, this is a Latin American project, but the more I keep researching and looking it up, it actually has an English version that is equally as good in the Spanish. But on top of this sort of accidental little project I found is more well made than you first seen. It's something that is the creator of this project called Carmito, who made this indie, was sort of very intense working hard to make this project. Some of you saying, well, that's basically indie. All indie creators work super hard to make the project. No. You misunderstand me. I mean, work hard. I mean, he give it 110% because he has his own website. The first pilot has multiple different languages, has his own merch, has his own website, and basically character profiles. He has so many different things. I am shocked because this is when deep. They went straight to break it or make it mentality. Yeah, I am all in for it because this thing, it is pretty good, especially how the creator, he just throw all the stops as I'm going in, because this is sort of surprising because this indie, how the best describe it, is sort of kind of like Adventure Time. In fact, a lot of people who watch the pilot commented it feel like sort of like an Adventure Time, sort of underground switch cartoon in a way. That's the best way to describe, because it's sort of the same sort of art style, but it's more into sort of fantasy, not sort of kind of D&D sort of dungeon, because they do go in the same direction as Adventure Time, but Adventure Time is more faster pacing, straight to the point. Metrecalia is a little different. It prefers to sort of slow down and do the jokes to understand the characters more before we actually get deeper, because this one has two specific episodes. One is sort of the test pilot and the official pilot. Both you have to see because it has actually lore. Whatever happens to one episode, the next episode continue on, that little specific thing would actually happen. But it's still silly, ridiculous, something very similar to Adventure Time. But the difference is Metrecalia falls into a more kind of normal sort of knight and hero trying to save the day sort of mentality, but sort of slow pace. But each single joke they make for the characters, they're specifically made for that characters. You have, like to say, comedy development characters. Like every single joke they say is specifically made for them in their development. You understand them more who actually are. Now, before I continue on, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, to reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, pull like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you. Because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People pull like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now, I get started of this sort of indie project called Metrecalia. Now let's get started. Now the best way to describe at least the story of the two main leads, basically sort of two kids or basically they teenage and they trying to figure out who they are. Both characters are basically idiots. They are basically kind of as same dumb as Finn and Adventure Time, but yet more different than Finn. I think first character I have to break down and explain is Lorraine. How the creator sort of describe him, who he is or how he works. Is the type of guy who will probably break a window to save another person, but the only difference is the castle is not locked, it's open because he assumed, so he break the window, get the key, go back outside the window, open the door using the key and save the other person, and leave the key and lock the door, even that he didn't lock the door correctly and he just made a mess. And that's sort of the type of guy who he is. He has a big heart, but not the sharpest tool in the shed. But you have that sort of charisma you actually like, but at the same time, he's not sort of fully hyperactive as Finn. He's the type of guy who sort of first wonder and understand the situation before he actually acts. But he's not the sharpest person, so he does sort of the dumbest things. But he's not the only one who is dumb. Her best friend Jessie is equally as dumb as Lorraine. But the difference in both of them that Jessie is unhinged. She doesn't understand what is fear. They about to be died. She's the one who actually laughing through the whole pain because she doesn't know how to deal with it, and she just thought this is sort of a game. And yes, she is that unhinged. But of course, both of them doesn't really help out the situation every time they have to save someone. And I think that's the best way to describe it. Is sort of follow the other dumb person and hopefully we don't die, and that's to make the show kind of great, but at the same time, it's not joke after joke after joke. The whole point is sort of kind of reflection or understand the characters in a sort of moment, because later on you meet like Lorraine's older brother, who is completely different. He is confident, sharp, bold, but also kind of mean-spirited to his younger brother because he's scared he actually hurt himself. In a way, that's the best way to describe it, but also his deadpan reaction to his own brother is kind of funny, interesting. On top of all this, the more you watch these two pilots, the more you understand what the creator trying to do with this sort of universe. It's sort of adding sort of lore, but trumping little kind of details here and there for a later future story, because right now it's building up to the big bad, who will be the king who runs this sort of village called Kodak, run by the king called Hayes, who actually is completely mad. But the villagers don't actually realize this. Only his right hand man understands what kind of demon he really is. In fact, the first time you introduce him, he won't be entertained by the jester. But how he gets entertained is not by silly music or doing some jokes, is that he gets a kick off torturing the jester. Even that, they warn you at the very beginning, yes, please don't not torture this jester, give him more, please, a chance to get away. And the king replied, alright, just for a few seconds, then he became torturous. And that's how you understand how evil the king really is. But the jester who tortured him, he's the one who wants to kind of take over the whole village, but at the same time you feel kind of sad for him because it's all backstory of this jester called Jester Jetson. The reason why they call him that is because his father also was a jester, but also not mentally well, so he decided to call him Jester Jetson, just officially just make him a jester while even trying to do anything new. Because of this, the jester quite literally psychologically broke him, making having multiple personalities. But this multiple personalities allow him to do his work to be sort of more focused, because at the very end he's self-loathing. He hates himself, hates his situation. He wants to take over the village, but yet he's kind of self-control himself. But on top of this, you kind of want him to take the village over because how cruel the king is. It's not worse, choose the bigger evil or the lesser evil in this case. And that's just sort of interesting because everything in the first two parts is just building up the characters, the silliness, and the ridiculousness of this indie project. Because at the very end, when you like Adventure Time, you will like this because they have the same vibe but yet different, because this is leading more as sort of kind of dark knights and kings and queens, but they have a sort of way of working things. You have to kind of respect the law of the king, but you're wondering, should you respect the king even that he's sort of mad? And that's just sort of interesting. But usually you just focus on Loris and Jessie for now. Their ridiculous, their relationship. In fact, best way to describe them, they are just kind of Team Rocky in a way, but yet so different because both characters are smart, but both characters are very handicapped in own unique way. This is why I mean at the very beginning, the comedy is built for them specifically because the joke fits on them because of their flaws. For example, like Lawrence, he is not the smartest person of the world. That's why he relies on Jessie, because Jessie is more clever. But the only problem is Jesse doesn't have a sort of survival instincts. Don't do this. And that's why you have Lauren to stop her to make her realize maybe this is not the smartest thing to do. And this way, the how best way they describe their sort of dynamic. They complement each other, but at the same time, they really need to have fun with each other. At the same time, make fun with each other and have a strong bond. Not the bond that like they basically stick together at marriage, more like a true friendship that anything else. Because the whole point of two first episode is just sort of building their world and building the characters, because both characters are extremely fun, especially how the animation is just so stretchy and bouncy. And this is what I mean, it feels something like an Adventure Time, and that aspect of that sort of creativity of movements of characters, even that the character design is simplistic, but it completely nails the performance, completely nails what they're trying to do. But at the same time, it's sort of more slower than Adventure Time. You have moments of reflection and development, understanding or studying of the character of specific moments, just to have more understanding of it. In other words, this could feel a little slow for some people, but just remember, this is sort of the beginning stages of a project. You don't know how fast you need to do with the project. I think the best way to describe it or give you an example is sort of King of the Hill Season 1 and King of the Hill Season 2. Go side to side and you realize Season 1 is so slow, it's completely boring. You get to Season 2, they understand the mistake and speed up and make the show work even better. And this is sort of the process of making a show. Understand the pacing, understand the characters, understand the idea you make it. First season, first episodes are very experimental. There will be some changes, but yet understand what you need to do. And I think this is the best way to describe the whole series. If you like something silly, over top, but actually kind of deep, something like Adventure Time, this is for you, because it's fun, clever, and over the top. And FYI, if you really like it, please put a comment, subscribe, and also leave a like on that channel. But if you have some money and you want to support it, go on the Kickstarter of the same name of this project, because they are funny for the next episode if anyone wants to help out. If not, you don't have the money, you want to help out this project, the only thing you do is comment, like, and subscribe. That itself does so much for the channel. But on top of this, if you want to do an extra mile, just put a hashtag on Twitter to get more people to notice this specific project as a thing. The more people talking about it, more free promotion. More free promotion, more people have eyes on it. Just a sort of FYI. No, my recommendation, just watch it. You probably enjoy it. But at the same time, maybe you think it'll be slow, but it's once more, it's a work in progress. But this thing has so much potential, especially have multiple languages. Yeah, they're going the extra mile, dubbing each one in a completely different country to grab your attention. It's completely worth it if you speak multiple languages. Like me, I do understand English and Spanish, and I watch both of them because I want to see the clear difference of both. And you know what? They are well executed. But that's all I can say for right now. I don't know you like how it's going. You think it'll be better or not? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.